Good morning, everyone. May 15th edition, and we have a lot to talk about today. So the first is Angela helped put the slide together to make sure that we kind of caught up with things, which is good. One of the things is we had mentioned before, for those that might need to catch up too, that the governor extended our state of emergency. And that proclamation was signed on May 13th, and it's extended for 30 days, and that's how we come to the calculation of June 11th. The other thing that was posted today, for those of you that might not be on the email list for Cumberland County Courthouse, there has been a presumptive positive case there reported, so they have closed the courthouse down in Cumberland County, Portland, today to give it a thorough cleaning. There was a revised PMO SJC1 that was posted, I believe, last night, and that corrects some errors, which just breezing through it, I think they just must be typographical. I haven't gotten confirmation on that, but for those of you that want to make sure you have the most recent PMO SJC1 that you refer to, please pull that one up that was just posted. Now, probably one of the, did someone have something to say on that? Okay. If someone does that knows about what errors were corrected, by all means, speak up, please, later in the show. So PMO SJC2. Now that's an important change, and it's summarized on the slide. I'm just going to read you the paragraph that I think is most important. It says, the March orders extending deadlines. Remember, there were two of them that were done by Justice Softly. I think one was on the 17th. I think the other was on the 30th. Those deadlines, the March order extending deadlines for the 49-day rule will expire on May 31st. Any deadlines that occurred or will occur on or before May 31st will continue to be subject to the 49-day extension pursuant to the PMO. But any deadlines that occur on or after June 1st will remain in full force and effect and will not be extended pursuant to this order. So that might bring some clarity to a few of the 49-day rule questions we had. And if it doesn't, bring on the questions. We'll get those forwarded through the chief and his director of communication, Amy.
Yes. That was discussed briefly yesterday, because there is some concern that if the plaintiff's discovery, or if the plaintiff's expert deadline is May 29th, and so that's not extended, or that is extended rather, for 49 days, and the defendants wouldn't be extended. So that was raised during the meeting yesterday, that may need further clarification.
And that's a very good point, Jonathan. I can see that going through like a scheduling order. It may not even just be that. It could be choosing to pick a jury, right? Something like that. So that's interesting. And hopefully Jonathan will give us some update too on Monday regarding the stakeholders meeting they had yesterday, and also that whatever's going to fall out of the next stakeholder meeting too, hopefully we'll address some of those concerns. With that, we have a guest, our hopefully usual guest on Fridays, but I hear we may have another Board of Overseers guest next Friday. But today we have Bar Counsel Aria E., and she's going to talk to us a little bit about, I believe, scope of representation. Is that right, Aria?
That's right. Good morning, everyone. So why I wanted to talk about scope of representation right now is because I'm getting a lot of inquiries from attorneys that are concerned about how they can go forward in their clients' cases if their client wants to proceed in one manner, but the attorney wants to proceed in another. For instance, if the client is pushing for the attorney to schedule anything in person or take actions that the attorney is uncomfortable with because of the pandemic, what's within the client's purview to make the call on and what's within the attorney's purview. And so the relevant rule, or one of the major relevant rules when you're talking about scope of representation is Rule 1.2. And if you do a lot of court-appointed work and you don't use fee agreements generally, then you should at least be using any kind of engagement agreement or scope of representation, because that's going to define the parameters of how you're going to carry out what you're bringing to the relationship and what the client is. And I think that's so important. And in the press of business, you can easily pick up a client and you're off and running and you haven't taken care of the business side of things, plus your mental health and well-being, by defining what the parameters of the scope of representation are. Right now, I think is a great time for you to be offering limited representation, which is also covered under Rule 1.2. And I'm talking about the professional conduct rules. And that's 1.2C, like CAT. Take a look at that. I do not think that lawyers in general offer unbundled legal services or limited representation services enough. So please take a look at that rule. If you're going to do it and you file something in court, then you've got to get the leave of court before you can unlimit or delimit your representation. But these are good parts or provisions of the scope of representation rule for you to be mindful of right now during the pandemic. And think through, if you're going to take on a new client, how you want to discharge your professional obligations. You may you may like having a little bit of a break, for those of you in litigation particularly that are getting somewhat of a break. And you may just want to provide advice and consultation. Rule 1.2 lets you do that, but please make that clear to the client in some kind of engagement agreement, if it's not also in a fee agreement, which I want you to do a fee agreement whenever you can, because that protects you in arbitration. So I'm happy to take any questions. Other than that, I just wanted to remind you of the usefulness of that scope of representation rule, particularly during a time like this where you're trying to get new clients, or maybe, as we talked about a few weeks ago, decluttering your client list and really looking at your practice. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Aria. There's always something new to pick up when you talk about the rules of professional conduct. All right. What I'd like to do, if we could, is Angela, could you give us an update on the business side of things?
I sure can. Thanks, Aria, for joining us today. Good information. And speaking of Aria, we are having an H&D CLE with the Board of Overseers on Thursday, May 28th at 1 p.m. Justice Alexander will be joining that, and Michael Bigos. It is eligible for H&D credits, and I guess since it's 2, it would be an H&D and an ethics credit. Is that correct, Aria?
Yes, so the great thing about it is it could be an ethics credit and an H&D credit, or if you were one of the few people that were not able to get your H&D credit for 2019, you can use 1 hour for your 2019 credit, provided you haven't seen the program before, which this is a new program for us. So, and then you'd also get your second hour for 2020's credit. So if you're still late on 2019, you can get two bangs for your buck. LaKiana Perez-Saxon, for those of y'all who know her from Maine Law, she's also going to join us. So
That's right.
Judge Alexander is going to moderate that. Sorry.
Thanks. I forgot about LaKiana. And when she said bang for your buck, the best thing is that it's free. So it doesn't actually cost you any bucks. So make sure you join that that H&D program. And as you can see, we've got some upcoming guests next week. And Aria has informed me that she thinks it'll be Justin for the Board of Overseers. It looks like I have a question. Procedure for registering for the free webinar on May 28th. The information we were trying to get it posted to our website yesterday. If it's not there, it will be there today. We will also be sending out an email blast to the membership. There will be a registration link, and it will be posted on the website with the registration link as well.
Angela, that's Zoom. Is that a Zoom platform that we're using?
We are going to use Zoom platform.
Okay.
It's going to be we're actually going to do registration through Zoom because it makes it a little easier determining who is actually who, because a lot of people use different names on their Zoom accounts or use phone numbers, and we can't tell who it is. So, and then we'll just enter it into our database so that everybody gets the proper credits. That's it.
Thank you, Angela. Just to add on to the business side too, I wanted to be able to mention that if you go to the Department of Economic and Community Development website, remember we talked about this a little before about checklists being posted for stage 1, which is occurring in the month of May, and some of the rural reopening plan information related to opening is also posted between stage 1 and stage 2. And then on stage 2, remember legal services are included in stage 2 as may open, along with state employees may return to work. So in addition, what has recently been uploaded, I believe as of like just yesterday, are 3 more checklists in the stage 2 category, one related to lodging, one related to campgrounds, and one related to nail technicians. We did have a constituent reach out just a couple weeks ago about lodging because he has clients that have had questions about how to reopen and so forth. So for those of you that may have clients that are affected by those checklists, please go ahead to that DECD website and take a look. And we also, just as a reminder, we did send a letter to the governor back on May 1st for a seat at the table regarding any checklists that would be made up for law firms or legal services. And we also have forwarded a request most recently this week requesting a seat at the table on any subcommittees related to professional services and the recovery committee that was established by the governor. So we'll keep you updated on that. On the personal side, I wanted to let you know that I happen to have up and down our main artery in North Yarmouth, Route 9 being reconstructed. And I am so impressed by these road crew, construction pavers and road repair preparers that they started work. They must start at like, 6:45 in the morning, and they're still going at it at 7 at night. So they're doing what they can to keep us going on the roads, and it's much appreciated. And I'm sure all of you have run into some of these road crews too. With that, any questions that we can forward and get answers to and help with, let us know. Monday, very important update with us at Bar Talk is going to be the representatives we had at the stakeholders meeting on Thursday coming on and giving us an update. So, and the way forward. Thank you, everyone.
Real quick, my understanding, I got a quick text from my staff that says that registration is up on the website now.
Excellent. For the CLE.
Yes.
Perfect.
And Angela, it's on our website as listed as a program, but obviously we're telling folks to register through your website.
Okay. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.